Everyone, remain calm.
Yeah, that's how it always starts. And later there's running and screaming.
Somebody talk to me! What is happening?
Welcome to Jurassic World.
You're listening to the Jurassic Park Podcast.
You want to consult here or in my bungalow? Hold on to your butts.
Well, we're back.
Hello and welcome to the 156th episode of the Jurassic Park Podcast. I am your host, Brad Jost, and we're here to discuss all things Jurassic Park. So, guys, everybody knows Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom has officially released here in the United States. It's about time, and it was a blast. I actually did get a chance. My plans ended up switching up this past weekend, and I was able to go see the movie. So, that was my second time seeing it, but you guys know that. And it was still a blast, and it was great to kind of get back at it and see everything once again. And I hope everybody out there had a blast seeing this movie. I know some of you didn't, unfortunately. I know there are mixed opinions on this movie. I've seen the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and of course everybody else in between. But, you know, I think, for me even, I think it needed a second viewing to kind of satisfy a lot of those opinions I had that were on the lower end. But, I don't know, maybe some people won't give it that chance. The movies are expensive these days, but I know I had a blast. I hope you did too. And also, this week, we also have The Evolution of Claire coming out to bookstores around the country on the 26th. Now, that's written by Tess Sharp. If you didn't hear that episode, we had that last week. But yeah, that's so exciting. I've been reading it, guys, and it is full of really awesome details. I think you're all going to really, really like, tying into so much of the past. I don't want to give away too much here, but it just really ties into things, and I can't even talk about it without spoiling things. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I think you're going to really like that one. But let's talk about today's episode. We're going to bring you a Fallen Kingdom box office report in the news. After that, we'll hear episode 25 of Extinction Level Jurassic Park. Now, last episode heavily focused on Tim and Sarah after they jumped off the cliff and later came into contact with a beast in the water. And in today's episode, we're going to continue to follow that duo as they escape numerous horrific encounters, and I think we're also going to hear some of the best acting in this series. I think you're really going to love that. And of course, after Extinction Level, I'm going to give you my thoughts in the after show, wrapping up some of the best moments from episode 25. And following that, we're going to move into the Visitor Center and chat with Kirk Miller, producer of the amazing motion theater experience MX4D. We're going to discuss bringing Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom into MX4D and what you can expect with that experience. Later on, we discuss a ticket giveaway so you can go see Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom in MX4D. You're not going to want to miss that one. But before we get into this awesome episode, we do have a few things to mention. Last week, our host, the service that we use to provide this podcast, transferred all the feeds over to a new service. So you may have experienced a little interruption in the podcast feed. It was a bit difficult to download for some, and I'm really sorry about that. The issue should be fixed at this time, as far as I can tell. If you guys are still experiencing issues, let me know so I can forward it along to the host. But I did want to apologize to anybody experiencing those issues. Of course, it had to go down. Why? Why did it have to go down during the week Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was released? But anyway, this last week we actually had a great episode, and I just wanted to mention that just in case you didn't get to listen to it. Like I mentioned earlier, Tess Sharp was our guest last week in the Visitor Center. She wrote The Evolution of Claire. We talked all about that book, what went into, her writing it and her experience writing in the past. And I think it was a really great episode. A lot of people that did listen to it loved it and gained some great insight into that book. So definitely check that one out. Our bonus episode from last week was actually our Fallen Kingdom spoiler reaction, which we recorded all the way back in June 5th. When we went to New York, I went with Jennifer Tarek, and Chris Pugh from Jurassic Outpost, and we recorded on the streets of New York, so definitely listen to that. If you haven't, or if you plan on seeing Fallen Kingdom sometime this week, definitely download that one and take a listen. It's also all over the place. It's on YouTube, it's on our podcast feed, our website, wherever else you want to find it. But this week, we hopefully should be bringing you I think some more Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom coverage. Stay tuned for that. We're still in the process of making those plans, but we'll definitely be uploading another bonus episode. I know, I'm sorry guys. Once June's done, maybe we'll slow down. I don't know, who knows. But we do have another bonus episode this week, which is a recap of the first 25 episodes of Extinction Level Jurassic Park before the final episode airs in a few weeks. It has been a long ride. It's been, over a year now, I think, bringing you Extinction Level Jurassic Park from Arjun Boss. I mean, this thing is so fantastic. I've loved hosting it here on the show, getting people the chance to listen to it and experience it because it's an awesome radio drama. And I think if you skipped over it, maybe if you missed some of the early ones, you didn't really know what was going on, I think this recap will give you a chance to kind of catch up. And so make sure to check that one out before that final episode. I did want to notate, we did a video last week where I got a package from Keebler that featured that amazing Keebler limited edition box that actually had a video screen inside the lid. What? It had a video screen that when you opened the cookie box, it played behind the scenes footage for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. It had a play and pause button, it had volume buttons, and you can charge this thing so you can continually watch it if you wanted to. And of course, inside there was cookies, definitely cookies, and I've been eating them. So don't come at me. I'm eating those cookies. But we did upload that video so you can see the entire thing. I know it was a very, very limited product, so make sure to check that out on our YouTube video feed. Wow, that's not a thing, just YouTube. So check it out over there, and because it's really awesome. But we also did run a few contests last week. So first off, we gave away 2 copies of The Evolution of Claire from Tess Sharp, and I just wanted to announce those winners here on the podcast. So congratulations to Taylor Bowes and Matt Munoz. Hopefully I got your names right, guys. Sorry. Yeah, congratulations to them. I'm sending out those copies very soon. And we also did give away 2 copies of the game Jurassic Park Danger over on Facebook. And congratulations to JT McGill and Sarah Basinger for winning those 2 copies. Those are being sent out as well. Thank you so much. You guys were crazy last week. Everybody submitted to those contests, and we're still running a few more, so the fun is not over yet. We're only halfway through the giveaway for the Mattel prize pack, so make sure to head over to our Instagram page, follow our page, like the contest post, and tag a friend in that post to enter yourself into the contest. Now that contest is ending midnight, actually, 12 a.m. on Friday, June 30th. And there's a lot of great stuff in there. There was a grand prize, there was a runner-up pack, so there's good stuff in there. And this week, we're actually running some more contests. So the new one that we're actually starting is, you'll hear it later on, but it's tickets to MX4D. And you're going to learn all about that later on, so make sure to tune into the Visitor Center. And we're also working with the amazing artist Mike Spires to give some incredible Jurassic World inspired artwork. We do have 3 amazing pieces of art to go into your collection. We have one featuring the Indominus Rex and 2 others that feature Owen and Blue. These things are incredible. One actually has Blue holding like a pig stuffed animal, very reminiscent of the first movie where they chase down the pig. And then another one with baby Blue. Oh my God, these are fantastic. I'm not doing them any justice by reading about them here on the podcast. That doesn't work. So you actually have to go to our website and fill out the contact form to win the prize. So yes, we will be giving 3 different pieces away. We have 3 winners coming your way, so make sure to go to our website, JurassicParkPodcast.com, find the post for this giveaway and enter it. And all you have to do is fill out your contact information, your address and everything, so we can send you the prize once we pick all the winners. And much like the other contest, that one will be ending at 12 a.m. on Friday, June 30th. All right, now, I'm sorry, that was probably one of the longest intros we've ever done. I really apologize, but we do have a fun episode for you, so why don't we get this one started off with a bit of Jurassic news from around the world.
18 minutes and your company catches up on 10 years of research.
Access rate program. Access new security.
These pictures were taken in hospital in Costa Rica 48 hours ago.
I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but look.
Boy, do I hate being right all the time.
Today, I guarantee it.
Alright, so you know Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom opened up here in the US this past weekend, and it came in with $150 million, which is actually the studio's second biggest opening ever, behind none other than Jurassic World, which actually back then came in with $208 million. So that was a little bit more. 150 is still really, really good and outranks so many other big films. I mean, it was kind of expected for this movie to come in a bit lower. A lot of the estimates were actually tracking at 135 million, so this exceeds that, which is really great news. Now, the big question, of course, will be how much does it extend through this coming weekend? Will it be able to maintain that? Will it drop a bit? Hopefully not. Hopefully we'll get a lot of repeat viewings. I think that it will, hopefully. There isn't a big like Hollywood release next week. Kind of has a little gap until the following week, so hopefully more repeat viewings happen this coming weekend actually. But this film is actually creeping closer and closer towards 1 billion. It's getting there, it's almost there, and it's been out for a little while around the world, and now it's looking at $711 million worldwide. That's great. I mean, that's really good. J.A. Bayona is super happy with that. You see his posts on Twitter and everywhere else. He seems really excited about it, so congratulations to everybody involved. That's incredible. But if you want to find out more information about the box office reports, head to the link in our show notes.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
And now, let's dive into episode 25 of Extinction Level Jurassic Park.
Episode 25, Sorna Parting. In the aquarium, Tim and Sarah had encountered a spiderweb had appeared on the glass where the Tylosaurus inside the tank had hit it with full force. Sarah looks up as she is sitting on the floor, seeing water come seeping through.
Oh no.
Come on. She quickly gets up and starts running back to the entrance of the viewing room, Tim already near the door. The second hit of the animal made it come crashing through. The room quickly floods and both Tim and Sarah are caught in the stream as they move back to the door and the stairs beyond. Tim misses the doors by an inch and is dragged back to the room. Sarah washed against the doors too, caught grip and kept hanging tight to the doorway. The Tylosaurus now lies growling on the platform where it came through the glass, the water not yet deep enough for it to swim. Snapping its jaws in frustration, moving its huge body forward feet by feet like a seal. As the water is pushing Tim forward, round the rotunda, he barely misses the Tylosaurus as he passes it. She closes in on the doorway again.
Grab my hand!
Sarah is reaching out for him as he closes in. He catches her hand as he passes and she pulls him to the door, just as the water hits the end of the round room, turning and coiling back to the front along the walls. Getting up on their feet, both Sarah and Tim are having difficulty to hold on, as the water now hits them from all sides. Sarah looks back, just to see the back of the Tylosaurus disappear in the water, now moving forward faster.
Move the stairs!
Sarah pushes Tim through the doorway, letting him go in front. He catches onto the stairs, pulling himself up out of the water. Just in time, Sarah lifts herself out of the water, with behind her, through the doors, the giant head of the Tylosaurus rises out of the water, missing her by inches, slamming against the stairs, which bend at the bottom. Quickly Sarah continues climbing, letting herself fall back on her metallic grating above, panting, resting on her back. The water below rises up quickly, coiling up the tube, coming up to them.
Guess there's no time to rest now.
Tim pulls her up on her feet to continue, and they run back through the passageway, continuing into the right tunnel. up the stairs leading up to the surface. On the beach on Isla Matanceros, Marty Gutierrez is looking out over the ocean, watching pelicans fly by, soaring over the ocean. He sees a supply ship passing by in the distance, to the north, when his pilot approaches him through the jungle.
Senor, we just got clearance for takeoff. The restriction is lifted, but we must take road south of Sorna, around US fleet.
Sure, let's go back. I've seen enough of these islands.
He turns and follows his pilot into the jungle, back to their helicopter. On Isla Sorna, from down the tunnels, tired, wet and panting, Tim and Sarah reach the top of the stairs, leading into a small building, a maintenance shed. They move out of the shed, surrounded by jungle. In the short distance they see the fires dying, where the bombs had dropped. Sarah moves for the jungle, hoping that maybe her father survived and is out there.
Dad?
Then Tim spots Jerry Harding lying on the ground. Sarah, there!
Dad?
They run towards Jerry Harding lying on his back.
Dad!
Sarah.
Jerry Harding is alive, but badly wounded by the blast. His clothes bloodied red, his breathing ragged, his voice hoarse.
You came back.
It's okay, I'm here now. We're going to get you out of here.
Jerry tries to move, lifting his arm to his chest.
Easy, calm down, stay calm.
Anything I can do? Sarah looks around.
See if we can build him a stretcher.
Tim starts looking around. Jerry has moved his hand inside his jacket, taking out the disc and the sample of the cure, which are still intact.
Take this, Sarah.
Okay.
Give it to Henry.
The cure? Dr. Wu mentioned to get it.
Men led by fear, destroying that which they fear. Never conquer, never learning to see the beauty, the joyous wonder of its miracles.
He's raving. Sarah hands the disc and cure to Tim, keeping her attention for her father.
Dad? Stay with us.
Magic. It's been an adventure.
Letting out his dying breath, Jerry's body goes limp.
Dad, no!
Sarah, I'm really sorry, but we can't stay here. We don't know what's out there.
Help me move him. I can't leave him here.
Suddenly they hear a helicopter passing south of Sorna. What's that? From the helicopter, Marty Gutierrez is looking out at the burning village on Sorna as they pass the island on the south.
What did they do here?
Senor, look.
I see it! It looks like they dropped a few bombs out there.
No, senor. People.
Gutierrez also spots the two people a few hundred yards away from the burning jungle, waving with flares to attract the attention.
My God, you're right!
Sarah and Tim are looking at the helicopter, Tim waving with the last flares they had left from the case they found at the boathouse. Over there.
Did they see you?
I don't know. Yes! They're coming back! Haha!
Thank God.
The helicopter approaches and lowers down on a spot near Sarah Harding and touches down. A loud noise of the turning rotor blades in the airflow hitting the surrounding grass and trees. Gutierrez opens the door and looks back at the pilot.
Just need the engine running on standby. I'll be right back.
Ducking low, his hands over his head, Gutierrez runs towards Sarah and Tim's position, both trying to move Jerry's body towards the helicopter. Gutierrez looks at the man they're carrying.
What's the matter with him?
It's her father. We couldn't save him.
I'm so sorry. Okay, I think we can take him. You need help?
We got this. Suddenly a loud roar comes from the jungle behind Gutierrez, as the helicopter on the map, and the Spinosaurus steps onto the plane, some distance behind the helicopter, hesitating at the noise the helicopter is making, and the flames coming from the jungle a little further away.
Oh, jeez! What the hell is that?
Okay, we could use a hand. Come on. Quickly Gutierrez runs for Tim and Sarah, supporting Jerry's body as they move for the helicopter. The ground shakes, but Tim sees the Spino is not moving, keeping distance from the fire on the right of the helicopter. A Tyrannosaurus, a buck, comes roaring onto the plane, followed by a second, a female, both charging the Spinosaurus. The pilot of the helicopter opens the passenger side door, looking white.
Come on, hurry! I'm not staying here much longer.
Behind the helicopter, the Spinosaurus bites the neck of the buck as the female T-Rex pulls the Spino by the tail, making it let go of the buck, twisting and trying to attack her instead. Tim, Sarah and Gutierrez move quickly for the helicopter. Tim gets in the back, helping moving Jerry inside. Sarah follows Tim inside from the back. Gutierrez moves to the passenger side door and also gets in. The fighting trio of dinosaurs is turning in circles, the Spino waving its arms and clawing for the Rexes. They circle close to the helicopter, growling and screeching, almost running into them. Gutierrez clicks the seatbelt closed.
Go!
As the helicopter lifts off, the female pushes her head against the side of the Spinosaurus, its arms held between the teeth of the buck, causing the Spinosaurus to fill on its side, right underneath the helicopter, still hanging low. The Spinosaurus snaps at the helicopter but misses. The buck moves for the throat of the Spinosaurus, almost hitting the helicopter as it comes finally clear. The Rex grabs the Spino's throat between its jaws, biting down hard. The Spinosaurus squeals and drops its jaws, its body going limp, and when the T-Rex buck looks up after the helicopter, it's already high up in the air. The female moves for the buck and brushes gently, lovingly against the buck's chest. He looks down at his female and rests his head on hers for a moment, before they walk off together into the jungle, leaving the Spinosaurus on the plain. From the helicopter, Tim at the window side and Sarah next to him both look down on the fallen Spinosaurus. Look, they didn't kill it, it's getting up. Weakened, the Spinosaurus pushes itself up and slowly, awkwardly limps off in the opposite direction of the two Rexes. The body of Jerry Harding is lying on the ground of the helicopter, and Sarah looks back. Seeing a woolen blanket, she pulls it out from behind her, covering her father. It starts to rain again and smoke billows up from the fires on the island, and the fires die out. The helicopter turns right to cross the island back to the south and in the direction of the mainland. Then Sarah looks up her window, seeing the marine ship northwest of the island, sailing north to catch up with.
The boat!
Tim reacts shocked, like waking up from a dream. Bloody hell, I completely forgot. Terrace looks back at her from the front seat.
What is it?
We have to catch up with a boat up north.
The Navy ship? Why?
No, the one it's tailing. We need to inform them of something critical. In this episode you heard Jennifer Tarek as Sarah Harding, myself as Tim Murphy, Steve Hurrell as Jerry Harding, James Hawkins as Gutierrez, and Hector Salazar Morales as the pilot. Join us the next time for the conclusion of Extinction Level Jurassic Park.
Alright, so that was another exceptional episode of Extinction Level Jurassic Park, number 25 right there. That one was called Sorna Parting. That was really good. That was another really good one. I'm going to run through everything here. So, this one started off, actually, well, if you remember last week, Sarah and Tim kind of jumped off the cliff, eventually went towards that, boathouse, and then went through the tunnel, ended up in that, system underneath the ground there, found themselves near a Tylosaurus enclosure, didn't realize what it was until the water started coming through the cracks, and that's where this episode picks up. The water is kind of coming through the glass. They try to get out of there. Of course, you got to get out of there if there's water coming through like that. And eventually, it actually floods through, pushes Tim and Sarah around. This Tylosaurus luckily cannot reach them. Tylosaurus is basically the Mosasaurus. It's essentially the exact same thing. So that thing can't exactly reach them, but they eventually, after this all, a bunch of panic and everything, they lift themselves up the stairs just as that Tylosaurus kind of slams into those stairs. It would have eaten them. They would have been goners, but they do manage to escape. And then this episode actually cuts back to Isla Mataceros, and we get finally into contact again with Marty Gutierrez. I feel like it's been a while since we've heard anything from him, and he's just kind of chilling on a beach. He's just sitting there watching the birds fly by and stuff, just taking a breather. He's been through a lot. He's been traversing a lot of ground, trying to figure out what's going on with these sick dinosaurs and whatnot, and or just sick animals and people, I think, too, right? It's been a while. I don't remember. But the pilot that he's with kind of he's like, hey, we have clearance. We can take off here. We can get back to the mainland. So, of course, they both go off to head back to the mainland, which then the action goes back to Sarah and Tim on Sorna. And everybody knows here, Sorna was partially blown up by the military just a minute ago, you know? So they're kind of trying to find their bearings as they exit this maintenance shed. The jungle is, it's still on fire. It's still burning. And, of course, they spot poor Jerry Harding. You guys remember Jerry Harding from the first Jurassic Park? He was that guy out with the Jeep where the Triceratops was sick. That's Jerry Harding, also Sarah Harding's dad. So they spot him on the ground. You remember the bombs went off and Sarah and Tim were able to jump off, but the bomb blew up right behind Jerry. But guess what? He's alive. And they attempted to make him a stretcher. They're like, let me go find some wood or something. I don't know. And in this moment, this last moment, he pulls the cure out of his pocket and some data for Henry to get him, to get all this information back to Henry Wu so he can help save these dinosaurs, save people, save everybody. And this is where I was like shedding tears. Steve Hurl, he does the voice for Jerry Harding. And this was amazing. This was incredible acting by Steve. This is basically a dying sequence for Jerry. Basically giving this like little monologue before he takes his final breath. Something about, I think I wrote down something here actually, men led by fear, destroying what they fear. It was actually really emotional, and it just rang so true about that whole destruction of that island. It's just like, let's just blow it up instead of trying to fix the problem, and that seems to be the case with a lot of things. But that was amazing. That was incredible acting by Steve. And yeah, Jerry let out his dying breath, and it was sad. It was a really sad moment. I thought, oh my God, look, he's alive. This is great. They're going to get out of here. But no, he's actually going to die still. But shortly after he dies, they hear a helicopter, and of course, it's Marty. And the pilot in that helicopter sees Sarah and Tim. They point him out. The helicopter lands, and Gutierrez basically jumps out, tries to help. But then, of course, there's always but-thens in this audio drama. Roars come from the jungle. Of course, the Spinosaurus still alive, out there roaming around. And, you know, in this incredible timeline that mixes The Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, and everything else, Jurassic World even, last we saw in Jurassic Park 3, the Spinosaurus just kind of roamed away, and we didn't really get too much word after that in the movie. And now the Spinosaurus erupts from the jungle, is about to like chase down this chopper, it seems, but doesn't. There's something holding it back, essentially. Turns out the two T-Rex from the Lost World, the male and the female, come out of the jungle, and they start fighting with that Spinosaurus. And of course, the people are like, "Hey, let's still get to the helicopter. We got to get out of here." They got to move Jerry, unfortunately, get him to the helicopter as well. Helicopter lifts off. The dinosaurs are, of course, still at it, fighting each other, ripping each other apart. The Spinosaurus falls right under the chopper, and at that moment, the buck only, grabs the throat of the Spinosaurus, rips. Spinosaurus falls limp, and I'm like, all right, that's it. Spino's dead. That's it. And then we get a touching moment between the two Rexes as they go off into the jungle. But that's not it. This villain, this crazy dinosaur villain survived. The Spinosaurus limps off in the opposite direction. I mean, it is sort of redemption. I know a lot of people struggle with the T-Rex losing and dying in the beginning of Jurassic Park 3. And I believe, if I remember correctly, I think Arjun made it clear that it was the baby T-Rex from The Lost World. And this is the parents coming for a little retribution. And it didn't pay off exactly the way you'd want it to, with the Spino like getting its throat ripped out and dying there. But the Spinosaurus lives to see another day. So we'll see if anything comes of that, or if this is the end. Could be the end of the island, since everybody's off at this point. So pilot goes towards the mainland. But before that, they notice the marine ship that's chasing the supply ship. I believe Masrani was on that thing as well, and also a bunch of raptors. So they need to contact that ship, let them know what's going on if they don't know already, which I have a feeling they probably already know that they're under attack. But we'll see. We'll see in a few weeks. So, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a recap episode of number 1 to 25 of this Extinction Level Jurassic Park series. And coming on July 9th, we're actually going to have the final episode of Extinction Level Jurassic Park, number 26. And that's going to be great. I'm so looking forward to that. This has been a fun, wild ride, and I can't believe we're here, and we're almost at the end, and that's going to be fun. And we're actually, well, I think we're still trying to work on getting that recorded, but we should have the creator, Arjun Boss, in the, actually, I think we're going to do a Site B, and we're going to talk all about Extinction Level and find out even more about the second half of the series. After we did have him on, like, at the first half, talking all about that, so now we're going to talk about the second half and the finale and all that stuff. So make sure to stay tuned on July 9th for episode 26 of Extinction Level Jurassic Park. Let's open up the doors to the Visitor Center and welcome in Kirk Miller, producer of the 4D Theaters MX4D. We're hanging around the inside of the Visitor Center today after a lovely trip around the park in the tour vehicles. And today I have a guest with me, Kirk Miller of MX4D, producers of the awesome 4D theaters across the world. Kirk, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Great. I'm glad to have you on here to talk about this experience. I'm very excited to learn more. I think our audience will be very excited about it as well. Before we dive into all the questions about MX4D, I have one real serious question I got to ask you. It's a little fun, actually. It's not too serious. But if you were stuck in a kitchen with a velociraptor, what would you do, and would you make it out alive?
Well, I make an excellent burrito, so I would have to make him one of my burritos. They're very spicy, so hopefully he would upset his stomach enough to where he wouldn't want to eat me.
That's perfect. I think so. You're going to make it out then, right?
I'm planning on making it out, yes.
Yes. I was really hoping for you to say that you were going to make it out. I feel like I've had a real string of just downers recently where everybody's like, no, I'm sorry, I'm going to get eaten. So I'm very glad that you're making it out, because I plan on making it out too. So
good. Yeah, I'm nothing if not optimistic.
That's good. All right, so let's get into it then. For the listeners and those who have not experienced it yet, tell us a little bit about MX4D.
Well, MX4D is a motion and effects theater. So what we do is we create a very immersive experience by seats that actually move with the action. They don't move when the action is not happening. So it's specific times where there is peak action in the movie. We basically are following the pacing of the movie, which is what makes it so perfect, as we're married to that. We have a particularly smooth type of motion that is an air-based system. We're the only air-based system around in the cinemas, and so we do that and we have a bunch of theater effects like fog and leg ticklers and scents. We have different scents that we use that say someone's smelling a flower, and then all of a sudden you'll get the scent of a rose in the theater. So we have all these different theater effects going on, and then the seats are actually moving with the action. So you feel the crashes. In the case of, say, Jurassic World, you feel like you're on the back of a dinosaur. Every step, there's this big slow-moving animal, and then the big crash of his footsteps. So it's particularly engaging. And I want to stress, because some people hear the word motion and they get a little bit worried, but really our motion is particularly smooth. And when we got into this, almost every studio stressed concern about making sure that it was smooth enough. So I applied, I began working with making the motion super smooth and yet, it has impact. And I use what I call the popcorn test, which is if you had a big bucket of popcorn, the only popcorn that's going to be on the floor is the stuff that you spill yourself. It won't be due to our motion.
That's good. I mean, I'm already spilling enough as it is, so I don't want to toss it all over the place.
Yeah.
But this experience sounds really thrilling. I'm a big theme park guy, so I really like, you know, that kind of element in a theme park and stuff like that. So when you bring it to a movie theater, that's really enticing to me.
Yeah, it really does pull you into the action. And when we like to use that word immersive. Probably going to say it too many times that people are going to be sick of hearing it. But I like to say also that it is equally immersive when you're not moving, because that allows people, you know, the time to really get into the plot. And those are typically the more where they're exposing the plot lines and developing the storylines. Mm-hmm. So we're very careful of that. And we're also very careful about not stomping on the emotional scenes. Unless somebody's getting eaten, which could be emotional, but we still like to feel somebody getting eaten.
Yeah, you're feeling it in a whole new way. It's not the typical, experience.
Exactly.
So, about how long does it take, I guess, to provide an experience like this for an upcoming film?
Well, I have a team of 8 guys that are very, very talented and really dedicated, and we can knock it out, the whole team and I, in about a week now, which is way faster than when I was doing these by myself.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But I had the advantage of not sleeping ever, so these guys actually sleep at night. But the also part of the process is that the actual studio comes down and sits through the movie with me, so it's approved by the studio too.
Yeah, so this really has to be something that you love if you're sitting there testing it out each and every time. It sounds like a great job, to be honest.
Yeah, well, people always tell me that. I sometimes forget how great this job is, but it is a great job. Yeah, it evolved naturally out of being a musician, believe it or not, because the way we program it is very similar to the way we used to program music. That was back when I had a full head of hair. So if you have trouble imagining that, I know you can't see me now, but...
Well, I could see that. I like that comparison there, because music, you have to feel it. You have to make sure it's just right and everything's perfect about it. And, you kind of have to go with the flow, it seems like, with this kind of experience. So I like that comparison.
Yeah, that's actually how I got the gig originally, because of the timing aspect. Uh-huh. Because we time everything to the frame of the movie. It's very tight. We are very, very particular about timing.
Yeah, I admit that, when you're editing even a podcast, there's something thrilling about just getting that timing right, about, a note hitting when you're talking or doing something, or even in video. It's very, I just love that feeling when everything hits at the right moment.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did this yourself, and then you moved on to a team of people. And I know you said this only takes about a week now. Does this take a lot of testing to get the effects right, or are you and the programmers basically efficient enough, it seems like, to get this right pretty quickly?
Well, I really wish the latter were true, but there's quite a bit of reworking things that goes on, especially with the motion parts, because the benches, they aren't literally doing what you're feeling. And so there are all kinds of things involved with doing motion. So you're really working and reworking to make sure that it feels exactly right. There's all kinds of decisions that have to be made because, when you feel like you're, say you're turning in a car, there's more than one thing happening in the seat, and all that has to be worked out and timed, and the benches and the seats themselves are not always fully cooperative. So it does require quite a bit of that. But there are times when you just kind of, like any job, you nail it the first time. So.
Well, I guess it's not too much of a bad thing, unless it's a movie that you're just not thrilled about or something like that. It's got to be fun to kind of make sure you get it right.
Oh, what? We don't have movies that we're not thrilled about. For all you studios listening,
you love them all. You got it. So, I'm sure you guys do a lot of. Actually, I want to throw this question in there real quick. How does the choice come about for what movies that you do? Is it something that you naturally know, these are the blockbusters, or are studios coming to you?
Well, the blockbusters are obviously a given.
Yeah.
Then we have studios come to us and ask us to do movies, and then the theaters we send out a request form. So they also request movies. So it's really a combination of those things. We mainly try to drive it by the demand from the theaters, because those ultimately are the people who are going to show or not going to show the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. Do you ever do anything that is just like not a thrill ride, like basically like a comedy or something very simplistic like that?
Yeah, well, we've done a couple of movies that were really unusual. One of which was the tightrope movie. What's it called? Walking.
Man on a Wire, I think, right?
Yeah, Man on a Wire. So no, it was called It was a remake. I think called the Walk, maybe.
The Walk. Yeah, the documentary I think was Man on a Wire, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt was The Walk, I think, right?
The Walk. Yeah. So they asked us to do The Walk, and I was like, how are we going to do this? But it was really good because we got the sensation of the jiggling on the wire. I'm
getting shivers just thinking about that right now.
It really did give you that effect of being, and then sometimes the wire would bounce up and down, and then early in the movie he falls off the low ones and things like that. So it was really pretty effective.
Yeah, see, I never would have thought of something like that so simple, but man, that really, I swear I just got goosebumps thinking about that, because that's like a fear for everybody, sort of, is just this, well, not that guy, I guess, but, the fear of heights and that, so that's pretty terrifying, and I'm sure you bring that into a lot of these movies.
Especially, when you look over an edge of something and the bench is tilted forward all the way and those kind of things, it does create that sensation.
Yeah, and that's just one of the thrills of that aspect, and me knowing a lot like about theme parks and such. It's almost like, I don't know if I would say lying to you, but it's tricking you in a way to make you believe, something that you're feeling and seeing.
Definitely, the whole thing we do is tricking you. Basically, I shouldn't say that publicly, but yeah, that's basically what we do.
Yeah. So The Wire sounds like a great one. Do you have any other like favorite films that you've produced so far in MX4D?
Oh yeah, we do. Well, okay, I'm not just saying this to be, let's say, suck up, okay? But Jurassic World, when we did Jurassic World, it was really noticeably great. One thing I really love is you have my particular favorite thing. One of my favorite things is that when you have very large animals with huge footsteps. We actually developed new techniques for that movie that we still use today to create the crashing sensation of the footsteps. And so there's something about that combination of these big lumbering animals and that. And then coupled when you get the faster moving, like the raptors and the T-Rex, it's just really cool. It's really fun to sit through a movie like that. And the movie itself is so large and looks so great that it just is, it's a total experience.
Yeah. And, specifically, now we're in June and my mind is constantly on Jurassic Park as well as obviously Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So thinking back to the 90s, the movie experience was completely different. It's not like it is today. And do you have any memories of seeing Jurassic Park in that, I guess, simplistic movie experience?
Yeah, I mean, I like to say I wasn't alive then. And I was pretty old then, so I do have as a matter of fact, it's funny because first of all, I was a Mike Crichton fan, and I had read the book, which I thought it was just a genius idea for a movie, for a book to begin with. And then when they made it into a movie, of course, it lent itself so well. We saw all kinds of just great effects and things that we'd never seen before. And it's funny because we actually did the animatronics for Jurassic Park 2 and 3. We were controlling, because we have this very smooth motion, and we were able to add a whole level of realism to the movement of the T-Rex. Huh. So I think somebody told me that they had a guy in the mouth, a stuntman in the mouth of the thing, and they're waving him around yeah. But what we did was we were able to overlay our emotion on their pre-patterned stuff.
Okay.
And it just gave it a whole nother level of reality to it. So we're familiar with those movies. We have the poster in our lobby.
Yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with them. Yeah, and that's a completely separate, experience, is trying to create the realism of something like an animatronic. I'm sure that air motion kind of lends, it to that smooth ability to make something feel lifelike.
Yeah, it really does. That coupled with the fact that we use this music software, so we're actually using a synthesizer pitch bend to move in different directions, which has many different discrete steps to it, which is another part of what makes it smooth.
I'm sure you just feel like, a god with that thing in your hand, just controlling those dinosaurs. That's got to be pretty awesome.
Yes, I am a god. So.
Well, there you go. That always works. You got that ahead of you. So, I can't help but think about Jurassic Park in this, huge cinematic experience. And I feel like it is made, like that first movie is kind of made for this sort of in-theater experience. It's very big. It's got a lot of those moments that you discussed with Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So do you have any like specific moments from the original that you think would be like the best to transform into that MX4D experience?
Well, I really would say I like things that maybe wouldn't be obvious. Like I said, I like the Brontosaurus because the Brontosaurus moves so slowly and has such a big impact. So I really like that a lot. Yeah. It's a great combination. But obviously a T-Rex. I mean, it's cool because let's face it. Like I mentioned, we all go to these movies to see people get eaten. Okay, let's just be honest. So when people get eaten, it's really fun because it would be great to see like in 4D in MX4D because we get the teeth in your back and in your we have seat pokers and stuff, so you feel like these impact. Man. Yeah, it's really fun. And then when they growl in people's face, I don't know if growl's right for a dinosaur. What do dinosaurs do?
We'll say roar. That works.
Roar. When they roar in people's faces, you get this intense air blast, when they're up close like that.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
So you got me thinking specifically about one scene in Jurassic Park, and I'm also looking at your website, which is actually mx-4d.com, and you have a list basically of effects and things like that. So I'm seeing rumbler, water blaster, seat popper, back poker, leg ticklers, air blast, wind, neck ticklers, snow, scent, strobe, fog, rain, bubbles. And I cannot help but think of, that moment where the T-Rex eats Gennaro, the lawyer, off the toilet. I feel like this list of items, give me like a quick like summary of what would you use in that setting?
Okay, well, maybe wouldn't be a good idea. Normally, I would say seat pokers, but since he's on the toilet, maybe we would skip that effect. But you would have, as he comes in there, you're going to have a face blast or a neck blast. Mm-hmm. You're going to feel the pokers in your back. Yeah. And the main thing is going to be, we have this low frequency vibration that it's a speaker that is in our seat. And it's a very intense amount of programming that goes into that. Anyway, one of the things that does is create these crashes or hits or things like that. So you would feel that as with the teeth coming in. And then, of course, the seat would jolt. So the seat jolting is a very effective thing, especially when you have jump scare moments like that. Matter of fact, we do some horror films, and it makes it way more intense.
Yeah, and I just like thinking about that scene specifically, there is so much going on. You have the T-Rex barreling down towards that little shack, and then it destroys the shack. You have, whatever that thing is made out. It looks like thatched or something, but it's flying all over the place. Ian Malcolm is flying through the air, and then you have that guy sitting on a toilet. And I'm just like, wow, you could be a little cruel and like throw some scents in there and some water blasts and stuff like that. That would be a little cruel, but I could see it working.
Well, we used to. We have a scent pack, right? So it's 10 different scents that we offer the theaters, and one of those used to be raw sewage.
Oh,
but
no.
We got complaints, so we had to drop that one.
I'm sure that's not a thrilling thing to smell while you're sitting there.
Yeah, nobody wants to smell raw sewage.
It makes sense, for the scene, but you don't want people walking out, that's for sure. And, you also brought it up in my head, like that connection between silence and thrilling moments, and then the shock of whatever is scaring you in that moment. I I'm already like very, scared and nervous at a lot of these moments, and especially Fallen Kingdom really has a lot of these moments where you're in that suspenseful area where you don't know what's coming next, and I just can imagine how intense that must be to have something whatever effect you're choosing just scare you like out of your seat almost.
Yeah, and you really try to let the tension go by not doing anything beforehand. So sometimes in Jurassic, you've got the whole shot of the dinosaur, so you'll be moving with them. But yeah, it's like you said, it does build up tension. It's coming, and that creates a tension all of its own. So
yeah, and the crazy thing about, like, say for instance that scene in the first movie with the Brachiosaurus, it's like the way it falls down to the earth and it shakes, and I don't have that at my house. I don't have, my couch doesn't move like that, but there's something about the way they produce that movie, the sound effects, just visually, that almost makes you feel like you're moving, and it almost shakes you like to the core. So I can imagine like just adding that, oh man, it's got to be amazing, something like that to the movie.
Definitely. I mean, it definitely make our job easier. And harder because we have to live up to it.
Yeah. So we're kind of moving in here to Fallen Kingdom, which I actually had the chance to see, which is amazing. And at this point, I forget when this is coming out specifically, but what kind of effects MX4D stuff can we expect in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom?
Okay, so well, the complete array, of course, is going to be there. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try not to do any spoilers, but I'll talk in general terms.
Yeah, please.
So there's a moment, for instance, where there's blood on the face and you feel a water splash.
Oh.
So I will say that they reintroduced the gyrosphere, which is always fun. It's not as, the gyrosphere in the last one in Jurassic World was really intense. It was really a fun part of the movie. This one's really good too. But I like that. One thing, we built a theater at the Chinese Theater at TCL in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. We've added in a couple of our theaters around the world as well a rain effect.
Oh wow!
So that's really cool. So you'll be sitting and you'll be in a scene where there's rain, and all of a sudden you'll feel this light mist on your head. So that is going to happen in this movie. There's a lot of dinosaur roar moments, and they're particularly good. I have half of my team working on that little speaker I was describing in your seat. Mm-hmm. So there's 4 guys actually ganged up just to make that thing happen. And the way when the dinosaur does that and it's really loud, it is so wonderful. Your seat just rattles, and the seat actually rumbles too. So it's actually moving very fast up and down, and it creates a vibration. And then there's this huge vibration in the seat. There's a really cool leg tickler moment, which people really laugh when the leg ticklers, because everybody's looking out and up around. They never expect anything to hit their ankles.
Yeah.
And the guy goes into the water. He's hanging on a ladder. He goes into the water, and you feel the water spraying on your ankles like that. And it's it really is a great use of that particular effect.
I'm sure. I was going to bring that scene up, which is, very much in the beginning of the movie, you have this intense moment, and I could imagine that scene particularly has so much to offer when it comes to like this type of experience.
Right, it does, because you got lightning. So we've got the strobes going off with the lightning. You've got the thunder, which is a loud crack that happens in that speaker, and then you've got the whole being chased. And I don't want to say too much, but
yeah, keep it light. Yeah, that is an incredible moment. It's one of the best moments in like this entire franchise. So adding that experience really sounds like a thrill. I'm trying to think, like, because it's such a drastic difference between the first half of this movie and then the second half of this movie. And I imagine, like you were saying before, all those tense moments where you're almost not doing much of anything at all. Those moments are probably brought out a lot more towards the end when you're, adding that thrilling, whatever it is, whatever the effect is at that moment.
Definitely, most of these movies are skewed toward the end. Because that's where all the climactic action happens. I should also mention a really cool part is when they end up out in mud in this movie. You smell that mud, and it's a very distinct, clear scent of mud.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. I like this. I like everything because I'm imagining. Is there any sort of like burning smell? Because we know the volcano is a huge, looming presence in this movie.
Well, I was tempted. We did smoke scent in Jurassic World, but in this movie, I opted for the big truck engine exhaust smell.
Okay.
So I try to go with, there's several concerns. I like to get a variety of scents in there, and I like them spaced apart the right way. And it really, with scent, it has to be a super clear moment of what's happening. I don't particularly like them when there's a lot of action either. I like people just to go, wow, what's that? That's mud,
Yeah, you got to find, I'm sure, the fine balance between, overloading people and then, holding back and kind of giving them the best experience possible.
Yeah, exactly.
So what does, like an experience like this cost? Because, the typical movie theaters fluctuate in their prices. What is like something like this, cost in your area?
So it's an upcharge basically, as you would get with 3D or IMAX or something.
Yeah.
$7 to $8 upcharge per ticket. So depending on the theater, it just depends on where they start with their pricing.
Yeah, it is an interesting time in the theaters right now, and I think you almost need an experience like this to kind of elevate things. And people are paying a lot in general for their movie tickets, but to, I think, just add a little bit more on top of that and give everybody an experience that they're almost maybe not ready for. They're not ready to experience, but they're going to have a blast doing it. I think it's a lot different than just sitting there and watching the movie, on its own.
It absolutely is. And we're living in a time where people have large TVs in their homes and great sound systems, and they can kick back on their couch and watch it, for nothing or very little at the least. And this is something that you just can't get at home. You can't get this experience anywhere else but the theater at MX4D. So
that's the thing. Everybody's sacrificing their content, just watching it at home on whatever they're screening it on, and then you have a lot of theaters around the country that are just don't have the best projection or don't have the best speakers, and I know a local theater near me still has like the old wooden seats that are just slanted down. It's like a inclining theater, and it's like, I think it's time to upgrade, guys. It's time.
Does anybody go?
Yeah, because in my area, that's basically like one of the only places, for some reason, my town is isolated. We have a few stores and a few things, and that one theater is where everybody goes. I like to actually drive like 30 minutes out of my way to go to a different theater, but if I had something like this, I would probably be there all the time.
I'm gonna send you a seat cushion.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's there's nothing like the old school, just like in that, old wooden chair. It's a thrilling experience in itself. You got a lot of back pain when you're done.
Yeah.
But we actually have 4 pairs of tickets to give away. So I'm very excited about this, and this is going to be fun. I think people are really going to enjoy this. So to win, basically what you guys got to do is you have to follow us both on Twitter. We are at Jurassic Park Pod, and you guys are at MX4D_global. So follow us both on Twitter. Tag us in your tweets, and make sure you tell us your favorite dinosaur. We'll keep it simple like that. So just list your favorite dinosaur in there. And also, one last thing, make sure to use the hashtag MX4DJurassic. That way we'll see it. We'll know where all the tweets are. We can follow along. And we actually have a list of participating theaters here, so I just want to go ahead and go through these. So we have B&B Theaters, which is basically out in the Midwest. We have Lee's Summit 16 in Missouri, Shawnee 18 in Kansas. Showcase Cinemas, which is around the East Coast, Randolph, Massachusetts, Revere, Massachusetts, Holtzville, Revere. There we go. Well, that makes a lot more sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Now we're even for the pronunciation of your name.
Yeah. Holtzville, New York. And then we have Plaza 14 Cinemas, which is Southern California, Oxnard, California. And what else we have? We have the TCL, Chinese Theaters, Southern California, Hollywood, California. So if you are near any of those, and please be fair, guys, don't, if you don't have any chance to make it to these theaters, maybe don't participate, but definitely go follow at MX4D_global on Twitter anyway, just to kind of see what's up. But yeah, that's our contest there. So I'm very excited to give that out. And you can go see Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which is going to be incredibly exciting if you just listen to any of this.
It will be, I promise.
Yeah. So, as we're wrapping up here, where can everybody find out more information about MX4D, yourself, or where can they buy their tickets?
Well, before I tell them, I just also want to mention that we have, I know they're not going to be participating in the giveaway, but we do have other cinemas around the world.
True,
we have over 200 in China. We have a Cineplex split in Croatia and MBO in Malaysia, and the Toho Cinema in Japan. It happens to be one of the best. I think it is the best-selling cinema in the entire country. Our MX4D theater there. Oh, wow. So we are building out around the world as well. They can also find us at mx-4d.com, and as well as on Instagram at mx4d_official, and at Facebook at mx4d experience, and Twitter you mentioned at mx4d_global.
Awesome. Very, very cool. So yeah, like he just said, make sure to go follow all those pages, because this sounds like an amazing experience. You have me thrilled and getting goosebumps over here, so I think I'm ready to test this out myself. So might have to give it a go, travel out to one of these theaters. But thank you so much for joining me here to talk about MX4D. Any parting words?
No, I just want to say thank you so much for having us, and having me, I guess in this case. I think of it as an us, but I really appreciate it and had fun.
Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
Are you hearing this?
Make sure to visit JurassicParkPodcast.com to find all of our past episodes, brand new news articles, information on how to contact us, and much more. It's a great source for everything related to the podcast, and of course Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. Head to JurassicParkPodcast.com and help us build a great community.
Anybody hear that?
Thanks for listening to the 156th episode of the Jurassic Park Podcast. Of course, a big thanks to Arjun for episode 25 of Extinction Level. This one was, again, incredible, fantastic acting from Steve. So make sure to give him credit there on Twitter. Make sure to reach out to everybody involved. This has been a fantastic ride, so stay tuned for the final episode coming in a few weeks. Also, thank you to Kirk for joining me today inside the Visitor Center. I really loved learning all about MX4D and everything that they're offering for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Don't forget to follow along with the contest over on Twitter, and to win, you have to both follow us and at MX4D_global on Twitter. Tag us both in your tweet and tell us your favorite dinosaur, and make sure to use the hashtag MX4DJurassic. Also, don't forget to go to our website and check out the awesome contest that we're running with Mike Spires for his incredible art. We're giving away those 3 pieces, so all you got to do is enter that contest form to win. If you want to interact with us, we do most of our work over on Twitter at Jurassic Park Pod. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/Jurassic Park Podcast, and our Instagram handle is at Jurassic Park Podcast. You can listen to us via iTunes, Google Play, Podomatic, YouTube, our website, or wherever else podcasts are found. So make sure to subscribe to automatically get new episodes every week. If you haven't already, please give us a 5-star review in iTunes or a great review wherever you listen to the podcast. It will seriously help out our rankings and make it easier for fans like you to find us. Don't forget to check out JurassicParkPodcast.com for all the links you heard here today. If you want to get a hold of us, you can email us with any news stories, MP3s, comments, or if you want to debut a segment of your own, send them to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. or you can submit questions directly on our website contact form. If you'd like to record something for the show, send it in to us and we'll feature it in an upcoming episode. If you don't have any way to record, you can give our voicemail line a call and leave us a message. That number is 732-825-7763. Thanks for listening, and enjoy.
No, I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
Five minutes. Drop what you're doing and leave now.